Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking SailPoint's first quarter fiscal 2027 earnings. And wow, we are going to see exactly how their pivot to software as a service and AI is driving some massive scale. Look, as businesses expand globally, securing digital identities is literally the new front line. And SailPoint, well, they've positioned themselves right at the center of that transformation. Let's just kick things off with a staggering number, $1.16 billion. That's a D. That is SailPoint's total annual recurring revenue as of the end of this first quarter. Hitting well over $1 billion in ARR is a huge milestone. I mean, it proves that enterprise identity security is absolutely no longer just an optional IT expense or some kind of afterthought. It's become a mandatory foundational layer for global businesses. The market is just rapidly standardizing on advanced identity management. Okay, here is our roadmap for The Explainer. First up, headline results. Second, the SaaS growth engine. Third, winning the enterprise. Fourth, operating efficiency and margins. And fifth, looking ahead to FY27. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. Headline results. Scaling the top line.
Take a look at this trajectory. Over the last 3 Q1 periods, their total ARR has just been on this consistent rapid ascent. We're talking $710 million back in Q1 of 25, up to $925 million in 26, and now they've hit that $1.16 billion for 27. Maintaining a 26% year-over-year growth rate when you're already operating at a billion-dollar scale, that's incredible. It proves there's massive structural market demand out there in the enterprise software world. Now, looking directly at their Q1 summary, we obviously see the headline ARR numbers, but check out the revenue right below that. They pulled in $280 million for the quarter. That's a 22% increase year over year. Combine that with their strong customer retention and really solid adjusted operating margins, and you can see that the entire top-line ecosystem of the business is expanding synchronously. It's not just one isolated metric doing all the heavy lifting.
All right, let's move to Section 2, the SaaS growth engine, the core accelerant.
So we actually have a bit of a tale of two growth rates here. While overall total ARR grew at a very healthy 26%, their software as a service ARR, that surged ahead at a blistering 36%. That brought their SaaS ARR to $781 million. What you really need to take away from this is that SaaS is undeniably the true growth vehicle for the company. Customers aren't buying legacy on-premise software anymore. They are aggressively adopting modern, cloud-delivered solutions, and that fundamentally improves the predictability and the scalability of SailPoint's entire business model.
Moving on to Section 3, winning the enterprise, loyalty and expansion.
Now, 113%. If you follow subscription businesses at all, you know this number is a vital pulse check. A 113% dollar-based net retention rate is huge. Anything over 100% means your existing clients aren't just staying with you, they're actually expanding their deployments. They're adding more identities, adopting new modules, and spending significantly more over time. Even when you factor in any churn, the existing customer base is organically growing its financial footprint by 13%. That demonstrates some incredible customer loyalty.
And their focus on the enterprise is crystal clear. Out of roughly 3,250 total customers, a whopping 1,270 of them are spending over $250,000 annually. Think about that for a second. Over a third of their customer base represents massive $250,000+ enterprise contracts. And what's even more impressive, that specific high-value segment just grew by 32% year over year. They are aggressively winning in the large enterprise space, which, as we know, is where security requirements are the absolute strictest.
To understand why these complex enterprises are willing to pay a premium, we really have to look at SailPoint's underlying strategy. They act as the essential control plane for the modern enterprise. Because it's built on a deep AI and data moat, the platform can handle immense global scale. It seamlessly manages access for human employees, non-employees, and machine identities across the most complex environments imaginable. I think SailPoint's CEO, Mark McClain, perfectly anchors this financial success to their underlying technology. He points out that securing identity is now a prerequisite for innovation, and it's fascinating how he explicitly mentions protecting not just human identities and cloud resources, but autonomous AI agents. As AI becomes deeply embedded in corporate workflows, managing exactly what those AI agents have access to is absolutely critical. SailPoint provides that unified framework, literally turning a massive security challenge into a structured advantage.
Which brings us to Section 4, operating efficiency and margins, profitable growth. Check out that robust 81.7% adjusted subscription gross profit margin. That is a textbook indicator of a highly efficient, highly scalable software model. Because they've successfully transitioned so much of their business over to a SaaS architecture, the cost to deliver their software stays relatively low compared to the revenue it generates. And keeping those gross margins above 80%, that gives them immense financial flexibility to just aggressively reinvest in research, development, and sales.
But it's not just great gross margins. They generated real, tangible cash this quarter. The business delivered $38 million in operating cash flow and $33 million in free cash flow. On top of that, they achieved an adjusted income from operations of $38 million, translating to a 14% adjusted operating margin. What's truly notable here is the expansion, right? Just a year ago in Q1 of fiscal 26, that operating margin was only 10%. They are proving that as their revenue scales, their profitability scales even faster.
And finally, Section 5, looking ahead to FY27, the future outlook.
Management has mapped out a very confident trajectory here. For the full fiscal year 2027, SailPoint is projecting total ARR to push toward that $1.37 billion mark. They also expect total revenue to reach up to $1.27 billion, which represents an 18 to 19% year-over-year growth. But arguably the most impressive part? They expect adjusted operating margins to expand significantly, reaching up to 19.3% for the full year. That signals massive confidence in their operational leverage and the continued heavy demand for their platform. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a question to ponder. We're stepping into an era where the corporate workforce is expanding way beyond just human employees. It now includes thousands, maybe even millions, of autonomous AI agents interacting with sensitive cloud resources. If every single one of these agents needs an identity and a strict set of permissions, is a unified identity platform like SailPoint's the only true way to secure the future of the enterprise? The numbers we unpack today certainly suggest the market thinks so. Thanks so much for joining me, and keep questioning how the future is built.